Hi girls, welcome back to the pod. This is such a short and sweet one because I want it to be really practical for the perimenopausal ladies listening in who need to ask themselves this question. Is it hormones or is it my behaviours? Now, if you are absolutely flying through perimenopause, you probably know the answer to that. If you are struggling, if you are feeling like shit right now, I can absolutely help you, but it starts here with this reflection. So the answer, in my many years of experience, is it's probably both. So when we are managing perimenopause, our hormones are all over the place. If you haven't already listened to my menopause masterclass, you need to with a pen and paper. You'll find that in the episode list. It's like an hour's seminar. It's free and it's going to tell you everything you need to know about what's happening in your body and what you can do best to support yourself. But let's put a pin in this. This is a short and sweet one. If you are perimenopausal, feeling like shit, and your hormones are rock and roll, your behaviours day to day are going to play a massive role. They're going to have a huge impact on how well you can manage the hormonal fluctuations. So if you are feeling like shit the majority of the time, in my experience, as a coach who looks after perimenopausal women, as a menopausal woman myself, it will be most likely down to your behaviours. And that's not about blame or shame. This is your opportunity to take your power back. I'm going to help you. I'm going to show you how you can feel better. But it starts with observing what's happening and why, and going, what am I doing or not doing that could make this situation better or worse? So, to give you a real time example, because I always like to put this into like a practical perspective, I'm coaching a woman one to one at the moment who got in touch with me back in May. So we're now in October. In May, she felt like shit. She knew she was perimenopausal. She wasn't confused about that. Some women I coach are, but she was like, no, I'm way into perimenopause. But the way she was feeling had kind of plummeted and gone through the floor. And she was describing the following. You might relate. Biggest thing for her was knowing what to do to feel better, but just not doing it. It wasn't a knowledge gap. She just couldn't find the motivation to get out of the rut. She knew she was doing things that weren't making her feel good. So that was the biggest thing. And like lack of clarity, brain fog, confusion. She also was saying she constantly felt like a failure because she was trying and quitting, trying and quitting. Then, from a physical perspective, she was talking about aches, pains, feeling unfit, feeling weak in her body, feeling quite frail. And then things like body composition, feeling really uncomfortable in her clothes. So, all these things I've mentioned, I think it's fair to say this lady was feeling like shit in May. But she asked the question to me after, like, speaking to me following content, is this my hormones or is it behaviours? Do I need to see the doctor and get whacked on estrogen, a higher dose? Or is there things that I can actually do to make this better? So, with that in mind, that's the question I want to ask you because she was really reflective, amazingly, and came to me asking that question. She then decided to go for it with coaching, knowing that if it didn't work for whatever reason, she always had the option to go to the GP and talk about estrogen. But she was like, let's try it this way first. And the reason she tried it is because I did a little life audit with this lady and I was like, right, tell me about your life, tell me about your situation, limitations, yada, yada, yada. Because obviously, perimenopause is very personal and so is your life. So we did that. And then it became really clear and apparent to me that this is probably behaviours. Yes, your hormones are all over the place, but your behaviours are really exacerbating the situation. And I think together we're going to nail it. So luckily she went for it. We're now in October as this is coming out. And I've just posted her testimonial because she is now feeling so much more in control, calm, more confident in her body. Her body composition's changed. She's feeling like a new woman. And when I said, like, would you recommend coaching to other people or what was the best bit about coaching? She actually said, never mind all the physical stuff, it was the mindset shift. Don't feel like a failure anymore. Always feel like I'm moving forward, feel like proud of my behaviours, and I've stepped away from all or nothing thinking. So the reason I'm telling you about her is because I wanted you to have a real time example that hopefully can inspire you to go, Do you know what? That was a woman who felt like shit just 4 months ago and is now feeling like a new woman. And she's not had to do anything radical. We've not had to move mountains. When I say it became obvious to me that it was her behaviours, let's see what you relate to. Okay, so I asked her to explain her like lifestyle. She's got a very demanding, stressful full-time job. She's stressed out her tits a lot of the time, and it's not a 9 to 5 kind of job where she can just go out and shut the door and forget about it when she gets home. So stress management was a big thing for her. She was constantly living with high levels of adrenaline and cortisol in her body. Not that there's anything wrong with those hormones, not that anything wacky like they're going to cause you to hold on to body fat or any of the shit you see on the internet. It's just living in a high alert space a lot of her time, right? Which is exhausting. She's then spinning all the plates at home, trying to look after everybody else, maintain relationships, sustain friendships, walk the dogs, keep the house clean, basically keep her shit together. She is exhausted. The life she is describing is stressful, high pressured, with no room anywhere for herself. She is at the bottom of the priority pile. She's a piece of shit while she's looking after everybody else, right? So I'm telling you that because I want to know, are you resonating? Are you like, yeah, Bex is basically describing my life. So when I put it out there for you on paper and when I did it with this lady, doesn't it become quite clear that actually I'm treating myself like shit, so my body is going to push back. My body is going to reach its breaking point. Now, it's important to know that the things you can get away with in terms of like burnout in your, say, 30s, it's very different to what you can get away with in your 40s and 50s. Our body physiologically needs more recovery time. During perimenopause, it is under more stress. It needs more recovery time. If you continue to push, 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 and not do the simple, healthful things that are going to keep you ticking over, you are going to reach this breakdown, crisis, burnout point where you feel like a piece of shit, stuck in a rut, and like you're trying to crawl back out and that you're never able to stay consistent or move forward. This is all really logical stuff when I'm telling you now on paper. So the first thing I want you to do, if you're listening to this pod because you are perimenopausal and feeling like shit, I want you to genuinely take radical responsibility to review your own life and go, is it that surprising that I feel like I feel if I'm being honest? Or am I stressed out my head, doing stuff for everybody else, overdoing it, not sleeping, not recovering, not prioritising downtime? Other end of the spectrum, right? This lady wasn't training or anything at all because she was fucking knackered and overwhelmed and couldn't find the mojo. I have another client who came to me burned out, who was overtraining, trying to punish her body, make her body thinner, lighter, smaller, working out like she did when she was 20 as a 45-year-old, burnt the fuck out. We've had to reduce her training to just 3 days a week of strength training. She's only 3 weeks into coaching and her energy has gone up. Her body isn't aching anymore. She's sleeping better by doing less. So there's two sides to the coin here. So I want you to genuinely, honestly review your life and say, if I got on a call with Bex and described my life to her, would she be saying, what the fuck do you expect? You're pushing your body to burnout. So I want you to know this is about, not about blame or shame, it's about taking radical responsibility and going, let's have a look at everything. Now, when you do that, it can feel pretty overwhelming of like, well, I can see all that now, but where do I go from here? The key is not trying to move mountains and do it all and tick every box. Like the lady I told you about who could never stay consistent and move forward because she was fucking overwhelmed. It's about saying, what's the most critical thing I need to resolve right now in order to feel a little bit better in the next few weeks? And how am I going to do it? So I'm going to list off some things because obviously I want to keep this pod short that you might need to concentrate on or reduce if you want to feel better. So just list them. I'll list them off. Think in your head what you do or don't do. So one of the biggest things for women during perimenopause is this need to recover, to rest and recover. Are you making time for yourself to rest? And I don't mean watching shit on Netflix or scrolling through your phone, doom scrolling. Have you got a bedtime routine? Do you go to bed at the same time every night? Get off your fucking phone at least an hour before bed. Wind down, open your windows. Like me, do you have aircon in your bedroom now because you're menopausal and sweating your tits off? Is there a solid bedtime routine there, or have you let it slip? That could be the most important, impactful thing you can do is say, I'm going to concentrate now on getting some fucking sleep. Sleep is affected by menopause, but it's not nearly as disastrous as people will believe when they actually look at the behaviours, right? What did I have to do when I went into menopause? I'll tell you. I had to stop drinking alcohol, reduce my caffeine intake. I had to wind down of a night time. I committed to getting off my phone at 7 p.m. and I bought that aircon unit. They're all things I did because I want to feel well. Now, if what one thing could you add in your sleep routine that might make you feel better in a week or two? So that's the first example, rest and recovery. Another real-time example, right? I spoke to a lady a couple of weeks ago, not a client, giving her some advice around looking after her body in perimenopause. After our call, a lot of things sunk in. Sorry, after I'd met her in person, met her at a workshop, a lot of things sank in for her. And she gave up a position on like a parent board at school, whatever it is, the PTA or something. She gave that up because she realised she was doing everything for everyone else. She came to my seminar to meet me because she felt like shit. There was no time for her in the schedule. It was all about other people and her version of success of showing up everywhere as the best version of herself for everyone else. She quit the PTA. Already she's feeling better because now she has some extra slots in her week that are just for her. She went climbing a mountain the other week with one of my clients. They went on a hill climb and had a nap together because she'd quit the PTA. So this is all about rest, recovery, looking after yourself. What could you do to reduce stress, to reduce overwhelm, to improve recovery? So that's one of the most impactful things you can do, girls. The second thing I want to talk about is food, fuel. Now, if you go to that menopause masterclass, you're going to get so much information about that, but I just want to give you a basic rule of thumb, right? Something quick. 3-2-1 framework, I call it. I use it with my clients. 3 meals a day, 2 portions of fruit or veg with each meal, 1 portion of protein with each of those 3 meals. If you did that and nothing else, you would feel better. Energy, you would be avoiding snacking in the afternoon because you're not eating properly. You'd be avoiding overeating in the evening. You'd be avoiding the sugar spikes and crashes. You would then see changes, positive changes to your body composition. A huge change you can make to food that's going to have a positive impact on you from a hormonal perspective. Think about hormonal regulation. That comes from routine. Routine with sleep, routine with food. Movement. The best things you can do. Walk outside every day, lift weights a few times a week. Optimum, lifting weights 3 times a week. But guess what? Some of my clients do it once a week because right now at this stage in their life, that is all that is manageable for them, but they can consistently show up and lift weights once a week. Brilliant. We'll build on it one day. But right now, when they're at day one, that's the small change they could make to turn that dial and make sure they're on the way to feeling better. So we've got sleep and recovery, we've got food, we've got movement, stress management. What have you got in your life that's just for you? It's not about anybody else. Something that fills your cup. That if you're lacking in joy, right, ask yourself what's fucking joyful in your life if all you're doing is go to work, looking after everybody else, washing the pots, right? What is joyful in your life? When it comes to stress management, there's certain stresses that we can reduce and completely remove. Some stresses we can't. So I want you to look at your stress. What can I reduce? Giving out to other people or saying, you know what, fuck off, I'm not doing that anymore. What can I remove? What can I manage? As in, if I can't get rid of that stress, what am I going to do to like fill my cup with good stuff? So I want you to think about things you can do for yourself. So this is obviously really like surface level basic stuff and it's not personal for you. That would come from coaching. I can give you personal support. This is just for anybody who needs a little bit of help. I hope it's been helpful. I hope you've taken something from it and I hope you've taken hope, inspiration from the client I'm telling you about, who today is describing herself as feeling clear and calm and in control and more comfortable in her body and more confident, and saying the biggest shift in 4 months has been the change to her head, to her mind. We've not done anything radical. She called me her critical friend. I set those plans in place with her in June and then I kept her accountable and I forced her to make herself a priority because women always put themselves to the bottom of the fucking pile and I forced her to put herself first, have some time for her own wellness. And it's paid off tenfold in a really short space of time. So I hope it's been hopeful. I hope you've learned a thing or two. And if you want to dive into menopause in a chunkier way and you've got a spare hour, head to the menopause masterclass with pen and paper, learn all about it, what's happening to your body. And if you feel stuck, if you feel like you know what to do, but you just can't do it, if you want a critical friend for support, guidance, accountability, a shoulder, you know where I am for coaching.